Okay, let me double check the stream.
It'll always flow the path of least resistance.
Well, we hope.
No, I mean, that's the rule.
Okay. Somebody say something.
Hello, hello, hello.
There we go.
Something or other?
Okay. All right. So, welcome to session 1 of Deepnight Revelation. Before we get started, we'd like to thank some friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. All the links to these are going to be down in the description of the video. These are not partnerships or sponsorships of any kind. They're just products that we really like. Tonight, we'd like to thank Dogmight Games. Dogmight Games makes beautiful wooden accessories for your tabletop role-playing games, such as wooden DM screens, dice trays, dice vaults. They have this really cool thing called the Player Vault. You should check that out. They make dice towers. All of it is customizable. And if you order something that's customized, it usually takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to ship. But if you order something that you want in a hurry, they usually have items that are in stock. And you can order those items. They will ship within 1 to 2 business days. And if this is something you've thought about and you've been on the fence about, we have a 10% off discount code for all the products on their site. When you go to your cart, just put in the code FRIEND in all capital letters, and that will net you 10% off of your purchase. If you're a fan of our new Deepnight Revelation Traveler game, we have a link to our webpage via Obsidian Portal. It is the adventure log. Similar to my others, it will be written in the manner of news articles. The news articles right now are taking the stance of different news services that are on the edge of the Great Rift out in the frontier, but that will change over time and be more of like an internal newsletter for the crew, as they will be out in the black away from all civilization, and you're not going to get the nightly news out where they're going. If you like the page, please go to the front page and give us a thumbs up. We do like to see those fan links, and we hope you enjoy. So this is our first Traveler session, and for Jack's benefit, since he wasn't here to hear it during our character creation, I'm going to play a little audio intro, and this will kind of let you guys know how this is all starting.
As is often the case with dreams, they can seem so believable, so real, yet in the cold light of day so often reveal themselves to be utterly ridiculous. Yours was no different, although rather alarmingly this one fades into the abyss, and with it any memory of what caused the very real emotional response it leaves you with: fear. Normally such a response would have you jumping out of your bunk, ready to face whatever threat had pulled you from your sleep, but not today, not in this moment. You hear a strangely calm and soothing voice, making the situation all the more terrifying. The speaker of the words is unknown to you. They say unintelligible and seemingly meaningless words originating from an unknown source. It seems to hold you for a minute, alluring you, keeping you from a certain inevitability. But in this moment, you know something is very wrong. You ponder this as the grogginess of sleep slowly ebbs away, as if wading through a treacle soup towards the enviable consciousness that gradually takes hold of you. As your eyes open, your heart rate increases. Pupils begin dilating as they attempt to adjust to an increasingly bright neon light reflected on the curved glass in front of you. Confused, slightly afraid, you force your eyelids wider, struggling against the intensity of the light now flooding into the capsule around you. Wait, you know this. The name comes to mind unbidden. Blowbirth. When? The fear that navigated the intricate pathways between your sleep and now consciousness returns stronger than ever. Low berths are known to be perhaps the riskiest way to travel chartered space, and too often passengers do not survive such an ordeal. Attaching tubes and wires to the bodies of those lowest of fee-paying passengers, the gamble is an attempt to reduce the requirements of life support to each passenger to the very minimum. In this state, they are treated as cargo, frozen until the arrival at their intended destination. Unfortunately, as is quite often the case, the passengers never wake up. In fact, as this end has become so commonplace, it is customary that captains now bet against whom will survive. Full consciousness now arrives with a stabbing shock of adrenaline. With it, yet another realisation. You can't recall how you got here, and perhaps more worryingly, what you were doing before you got here. Indeed, you cannot remember anything prior to this moment. All you do know is that wherever you are, whomever you are, and however you got here, you've got to get out. Now. No amount of memory loss saves you from the very real knowledge that unless you get out of this low berth soon, you may perish as so many have before you. Almost sensing your desperation, the low berth tubes and wires make a rather sickly popping noise as they disconnect from your wrists and retract slowly into their housings within the capsule. At the same time, the curved plexiglass of the berth slowly begins to rise, and with it, a glimmering hope of survival.
So you awaken and you can hear a computerized voice rattling off, like he describes, words that you understand the words, but currently they're meaningless to you. And on the inside of the glass, as this door is rising, you see a paper doll style readout with some figures on it. It's technically your character sheet. Basically telling you that you are healthy. The problem is, and this is not abnormal for having awakened in low berth. The problem is you don't have much memory. You can, at this point, vaguely remember your name starts to come back to you, and a little bit of your skills and some of your background information. And as you step out of the low berth, you realize that there is water filling the compartment. It is about ankle deep. And you also realize that the deck that you're standing on when you get out is canted at a port forward kind of position. So it's kind of at an angle. And there's water pouring in from somewhere. You are wearing the typical gray, pajama style suit that would be worn going into a low berth. You have the sleeves on this suit are upturned. You have no shoes on. However, you do find some ship shoes in the small locker underneath the low berth. Now, if you're not familiar, ship shoes are basically a mix between they're like a slipper. They're a mix between pull-on socks and a partial shoe, and they are very flimsy. And you are currently here. Sure, we're on the right page. You are in this compartment here. And the three of you get out. Two other people also get out. They seem to be in worse condition than you are. They're barely able to mumble. Their eyes, you can tell, are having a hard time focusing. One is they're both humans. And one of them is kind of a burly looking kind of guy. He's got some biceps on him. The other one, a little bit of a slider build, but they're barely even able to talk. But out of the 6 low berths that are in here, it seems that 5 of them were filled. The 6th one is closed.
I'll go look at the sixth one.
So checking out the sixth one, you can see that there is a a red flashing paper doll symbol on the front of this screen, and a dot in a flat line moving across the screen. And through the frosted glass cover, you can see that there's somebody in there, but they're not moving.
This happy little person has ended their circle.
It looks like this place is filling with water. We probably should figure out what we need to do.
Okay, so before we do that, let's go around the table, and we will start with Sarda. Tell us a little bit about what you remember of Sarda.
I remember being court-martialed after causing an accident in the Navy, and being on trial for gross incompetence was the phrase. However, it was an intentional accident that I created, and I was allowing the gross incompetence to stand rather than admit that I intentionally killed a person who discovered that I had psionics.
All right. Now, out of the three of you, you realize that the three of you are not all humans. One of you is a Aslan, and the other one, Bocephus. Tell us about Bocephus.
Yes, I have a different look than usual. I've got a grayish colored skin and kind of webbed fingers and feet. Don't have any visible hair. I'll introduce myself as Dr. Bocephus. I'm a traveling scholar, and everything's going to be okay. Just let things play out. The little messy nicks and bings of challenges, often make a prettier picture. You just, try not to get into details that you don't like, and they'll fade into the background.
It's okay. Easily said by somebody who doesn't have to worry about drowning.
Right. Yeah, he's a Chokari, so he's like a humanoid dolphin.
Yeah.
And from your description, I have this image that your low berth, when it opened, like there was a big cloud of smoke that came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just all nice.
So, Jackie, tell us about Riker.
So Riker was a military man, or Aslan. Spent a few terms. Right now he's very confused, seeing a dolphin. But yeah.
Well, I don't look like a dolphin. I look more humanoid than an actual dolphin.
That's true.
Yeah, I have arms and legs.
Okay. So was it your avatar picture from before?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I got an image now.
So yeah, you're standing in this ankle-deep water with ship shoes and pajamas, and that's it. There's no other gear or equipment in this room. Oh, there is a right here. There is an iris valve that leads out of this room.
Yeah, let's open that. Let's try to find the source of this leak and seal it if we can.
So the door's not locked. The first thing that all of you realize is that you are as soon as you get this door open, and when this iris valve opens, the first thing that you notice is that it opens very slowly. And as it opens, you realize that the lighting that is in this room is the red emergency lighting, so you're probably on backup power. And as this door slowly opens, the lights physically dim in the room. So once it gets open, you then realize that you kind of know your way around. You are familiar with this class of ship. And the first thing that pops into your head, all of you realize that this is something called a small hauler. Small haulers are are system boats. They don't have jump drives. They are used to ferry mostly cargo and occasionally passengers around inner systems. Usually they go out to like a belt and pick up ore, or they'll go out to a space station and pick up supplies and bring it back to a mining facility, things like that. Usually, almost inevitably, it's mostly going to be like ore mining kind of cargo that they're hauling. Occasionally, it might be heavier cargo if there's a station that's way out, but it's mostly going to be ore and consumable type products. Now, when you open this door, to your immediate left is you see that there is an elevator, and you know that this elevator would go down to the cargo deck down below. The elevator is one of those that when it is down in the cargo deck, the top of the elevator becomes the floor. But luckily for you, the elevator seems to be stuck in a half position, so somebody can belly crawl into the elevator and belly crawl out into the lower deck. And the water is there's like a small river of water cascading down into the elevator, filling up or dumping into the lower deck. And then, of course, to your right is a hallway. There's a small common area, and at the end of the hallway is the ship's airlock, which is closed.
Can we see which way the water's coming from?
Right.
So the water appears to be coming from the water is pouring in from up in. If I can get there we go. It's coming from up in this area.
Yes, let's head that direction to try to stop that.
Well,
Yeah.
before we do that, we're just kind of here in our relaxation clothes. Isn't there like an emergency place? Maybe the emergency bridge, emergency locker?
You know that there may be an emergency locker on the bridge, and you know that it would be through the common area.
We don't have much power. We don't have much light. Let's stop the leak now while we can see, and then we can go and look for other stuff. But
Right.
If we're going to go down to the lower decks, it seems silly to do so while water's filling it. So let's stop the leak, and then we can really search the place.
I don't really have a lot of skills that can help you stop a leak, but I'm more than willing to come help you out with moral support and good insight.
So you make your way to the forward upper deck, and this section is all passenger cabins. However, you realize that these passenger cabins, almost all of them, well, in every case, all of the iris valve doors to each cabin is open. And it looks like somebody came through, took, rifled through stuff and just threw it on the floor. And most of these cabins, it looks like they were dumping grounds where people would just, when the ship was actually working and in service, anything they didn't have anywhere to put it, they would just throw it into one of these cabins. It doesn't look like this ship really got a whole lot of passengers very often. But I will allow all of you to make an investigate plus intellect check.
This is where not having our agent is going to really suck.
Right. Well, I'm going to be kind to you guys here, too. And in fact, Sarda can make the investigate check with a boon, so roll 3 and take the 2 highest.
Great.
Mostly because I'm assuming that Sarda is really laser focused on finding that leak.
Yeah.
My character sheet's not opening. I'm gonna reload real quick.
Okay.
Would that be based on intellect or?
Yes.
I got an 8.
Investigate intellect.
All right.
Yeah, I got an
You
8.
said with a boon.
Okay.
I am untrained.
Yeah, I'm not trained either. That's why I'm really happy about the 8.
Oof.
I got with a boon. I got a 2.
Okay. What did Riker get?
Let's see. I was not trained in that either.
Oh,
Again, agent. We really missed an agent here.
Yes.
yeah, with the eagle eye recon, yeah, the cop.
So Bocephus, well, Sarda, you're you're moving around, trying to find where this water's coming in, and it just seems like everything's wet, and you can tell that water is flowing, but with all the crap that's floating in the water from whoever went through here and pulled stuff out of the drawers, it's really hard to find. However, with the help of Riker, you are able to find where this is coming from, and where the water is leaking in, there is a service hatch. And these service hatches are not, they don't act as an airlock, and so generally they are kept locked and closed when the ship is in flight. Something has kind of partially buckled this particular hatch, and water seems to be coming in that way. It is still closed and still in a locked position, but there's a steady stream of water coming in.
Can we close the iris valve to this room?
You could. Now, Bocephus, you actually find something possibly useful. You find a couple of things. The first thing that you find is you find a med kit.
Oh.
And along with the med kit, you find an unmarked case. And inside the case, and this med kit you find, as you're searching, you find that you find this near the early on, near the low berths. You find this unmarked case, and when you open it, there are 6 vials that hold a cloudy solution and a syringe, like the old style stainless steel syringes back before they wanted you to replace the needle every time. And all of these vials are unmarked, as the case is unmarked.
Okay. I will hold on to them clutched under my arm like a package that I really care about.
And you also find that there's a room, and it looks like it's out of all of these rooms up here in the forward compartment, it's the only room that seems to have been actually occupied, and it looks like somebody had gone through and picked out some clothes that they wanted to take with them, but they left the rest of the clothes. And so there is a locker with some coveralls, and you find that there is a separate locker with a vac suit in it.
Okay. Is
Nice.
there any backpacks, duffel bags, blankets, anything like that I can start putting crap that we need to carry with us?
So the bunk does have, they are bunk beds. There are 2 sets of blankets, or if you want, you can just grab a pillowcase, start throwing stuff in a pillowcase. You don't find a duffel bag or backpack, but you do find ship coveralls, and the coveralls, it's your typical ship onesie. They have a patch on them, and the patch is a logo for a company called Stern Metal. Stern Metal. See, I'm already forgetting things. Or I'm sorry, Stenmore Minerals, and it's got their corporate logo.
Yes. So we were working for the mining company? Is that what we were doing?
You don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, was I working for a mining company? Maybe. I mean, after you retire, you have to get some kind of part-time job, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Is this another room
It
with
is.
low berths?
It is.
Does it look like closing the iris is going to stop the leak? Or should I start jamming something into the area the water's coming in through?
It would definitely, if you closed this iris valve, it would definitely slow the leak down.
What about the iris valve of the room in particular that's
well,
leaking?
Unfortunately, it's at the end of this hall.
Right.
It's not in a room.
Oh, it's not in a room. It's just here.
No, it's just at the end of the deck.
So I'm just going to look for anything that would be water resistant or waterproof that I could maybe jam into that area to prevent the water from coming in.
You and Sarda and Riker, you can make recon plus intellect checks.
Great. We add recon to the list of things I don't know.
That's not bad.
Hey, 7. That's pretty good with a -3.
So between the two of you, you find another 2 vac suits and another set of basically these look like they were spare coveralls. You know, in case that one got damaged for one of the crew members, they just threw them into a spare room.
I would suggest all three of us go ahead and put on vac suits and cover them.
Definitely.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
The vac suit has a limited oxygen supply, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we don't have to live off of that.
Yeah.
But it will still provide armor.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense to put it on. Yeah, if I can find anything made of plastic and maybe a way to heat it, I can maybe melt it to the surface of the wall to prevent water from coming in.
So the trick will be trying to find a way to heat it, because on emergency power,
or duct tape would be good.
You're on emergency backup power, but the first thing that you notice is that most of the items on a ship, I mean, obviously everything's electronic. Most stuff isn't working. Like, and you would think that on battery backup that it should be, and it's not. And it's starting to get cold in here.
Perhaps we ought to think about looking for another place to exist at.
That might be a good idea.
We don't necessarily have to stay on the ship. We might be right next to a wonderful island that has happy trees and penguins, coconuts.
I think we should check the rest of the ship out for anything that we can use that would help us, and that would include down below. I just was hoping I could stop the water from coming in, so that it's easier to search the area below.
We only have a limited amount of time here on this place. We should definitely make haste, my friend.
I don't know that we do have a limited, right? I mean, this is a ship that's landed on a planet, I would assume, or a planetoid. There's water, and if there's water coming in, that means there's probably atmosphere coming in, and we're not dead yet.
So the entire deck suddenly lurches for a moment, and then kind of settles, and it feels like it's sinking for just a split second, and then settles again.
So let's seal this off as best we can, and that may mean searching these bedrooms up here, and then sealing this iris, and then let's go down and check the lower deck for anything that we can find that would help us.
So, feeling the ship shake like that, Riker wants to go check the other room with low berths.
Okay.
Because he's thinking about if there's anybody else in here.
So you get into the other room, and out of the 6 low berths that are in this room, and you realize that on these ships, so if you see 2 here, these are small cargo holds. Most of these classes of ships, they have 4 of these cargo holds, but almost inevitably on all of them, they kind of kit bash 2 of them to hold the low berths, which is what they've done here, and that's pretty standard procedure. When you get in here, you realize that 5 of the low berths, the passengers have all died in the emergency wake-up sequence. However, in the 6th one, you do find a young woman, and she is completely out of sorts. She, just like the other 2 that woke up with you in your chamber, she's barely able to speak.
All right. I'm going to say, I'm going to check her, make sure she's okay, and fill her in that we believe we might be on a ship a starship that's taking on water, and just try to help her out.
She basically looks at you with like this confused look, like she doesn't understand the words coming out of your mouth, but she's willing to follow you. For lack of a better idea and not knowing, who she is or what's going on. She doesn't even, at this point, have the ability to tell you her name. She's so out of it. And all of you are still feeling, you feel hungover. You feel like you really tied one on and maybe did some of the hard drugs the night before and partied a little too much. And you wake up and you're not sure where you are or how you got there.
It's been my experience that these feelings pass after a while. You just have to let them ride out.
So I'll help her
check
to
out
the other passengers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go check out the bridge.
Okay. Sarda, you can go ahead and you can make a mechanic plus either your choice of intellect or education to try and... You're basically kit bashing something with a spare vac suit to try and stemmy this tide coming in.
So I got a wait, hold on. I may still have Boone on. Yeah, let me turn that off. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So that's a 8.
Yeah. So you are making progress. The water's still coming in, but it's certainly not coming in as fast as it was. And you're kind of essentially just stuffing this vac suit and using the seals of the vac suit to try and slow the flow of water. It appears that it's not going to be something that you can stop entirely.
I wasn't going to use a vac suit. Those are going to be far too valuable for us to wear.
Well,
right?
you found yet another one.
Right, but I mean, there were other people coming out of those low berths, right? I mean, there were 2 other people beyond the 3 of us from here, right?
Right. Yeah.
Plus now a third that I didn't know about, but I mean, I wouldn't be wasting one of their vac suits on that. You know what I mean? I just figured there might be sheets or anything.
Yeah, you're able to stuff some sheets or a pillow. Like I said, it's going to be impossible to stop it completely, but you've slowed it down.
Okay, that's fine. And then so then I'll just real quick go from room to room in here and then close this iris valve when I'm done.
Okay. Bocephus, you get into the bridge, and there is the first thing that you notice is that the wall along one of the behind one of the terminals is completely blackened. At some point this terminal has caught fire, and it seems like the crew had to put the fire out with hand extinguishers. The fire suppression system did not engage. All of the
So-
computers in here are black. They are all they're all not functional.
Are there any supplies or anything like that in the area that might?
You do
Generally-
find right here the ship's emergency locker. And in the emergency locker, after rummaging through, this emergency locker, like a lot of small haulers, is a refuse bin for things that don't have another home. And so after going through a bunch of circuit boards and tossing them on the floor, you find a revolver loaded, 6 shots, in a holster. The holster has a metal clip on it to attach to a belt or a waistband. Unfortunately, your pajamas don't have a waistband, but you could attach it to like the overalls.
I'm in a vac suit.
He's got a vac
okay,
suit,
yeah.
yeah.
If you put on your vac suit, then yeah, you have some place that you can clip it. The other thing that you find is you find a a security. It's a security master key. It's a card.
Ooh, I will gladly take all of that.
Sarda, as you're making your way back, you don't really find too much more stuff that's useful here. You do find, you find 5 meal packs. Basically, they're freeze-dried meal rations, and
I'll throw those in a pillowcase.
throw them in a pillowcase. And you also find a standard survival kit.
Oh, awesome.
And hold on here. I have that here. I will throw this up on the screen for you. And see what the name of this was. So this is what is in the shipboard survival kit. Essentially, I mean, you don't have to worry about writing this all down.
That's a far more comprehensive one than the personal one.
Right. Yeah. This has quite a bit of stuff in it, and essentially what this is that if you're out in the wilderness and you say, hey, I would like to, start a fire. I'm going to make sure that you go through and, oh, do I have matches? No, you have a shipboard survival kit. Of course you do. So, so this is what you find. It just kind of gives you an idea of what's in there.
Okay.
Cool.
And the other thing that you find is in the ceiling, you find that there is an external hatch.
And that's in what section of the ship?
It's like right here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Because I didn't really love the idea of getting out through the cargo bay.
It is locked, however, and you know that on this class of vessel, because they're not airtight, those external hatches are always locked to prevent any wayward passengers who are a danger only to themselves from opening that and decompressing the entire ship. And so it is locked. It would need to be unlocked from the bridge or with a commander or with a captain's key of some kind.
Right. It's going to let a lot of water in. So for now, it's good to know it's there. It's probably our exit. But I'll yell, I found a hatch. And I'll move back and close this iris, I guess.
Okay. As you're closing the iris, Riker, this is an airlock, and there's actually like a window so that you can look into the airlock. Make a recon plus intellect check. Dude.
It is not working for me for some reason again. Is it coming up? Oh, got it. Sorry.
Okay, that's actually a really good roll. So you look through this window in this airlock. On a mount on the wall is a shotgun.
Yes.
And you see that inside here, also hanging in a locker, are 2 more vac suits. But this airlock is closed and unpowered.
That's I think that's vac suits for everybody. That's good.
So you would need to, in order to open this airlock, it would be a mechanic plus strength check, and it would be a difficult check.
All right, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay. Maybe you can jimmy it with your dew claw. So that's not going to do it.
You rolled really poorly. It looks like you've got pretty good stats for this, but that was not a. I guess that makes sense. Aslan are pretty strong.
Usually, yeah.
He got too cocky.
Only until they bathe. Then they're not strong anymore.
The cat. Well, he's the cat. At least he's not afraid of water.
They're like 9 feet tall. I mean, we're lucky he's fitting in a normal vac suit.
Right. Yeah. I'm being generous with that.
Yeah, he was generous with me too. I mean, technically, he's supposed to give me grief about not being human.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're humanoid, so
sure.
I mean,
yeah. Size-wise, are you like taller than a normal human, or how does?
It's just I've got like little webbing kind of feet.
Got a blowhole on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
Has to make sure he moisturizes often.
Yes.
I do like to moisturize. Yeah. Sure.
That's awesome.
Pretty important. I like to eat a fish-based diet when I can. So
all right.
Really excited to see that there's water on this planet. I don't know how hospitable it'll be to you, but you know.
It hasn't been burning our feet, so it's that's a plus.
So yeah, that brings up another good point. The water that you are standing in is clean, fresh water.
Okay.
It is cold.
I really would like to try to look outside the ship then, and I mean.
So this class of ship has absolutely no windows. Everything is done by monitor screen.
If I try to exit the ship, though, I mean it's going to basically be a thing where the ship will now sink a lot faster. But I mean the ship is going to sink anyway. So
well, we can't be too deep now because ships won't handle that level of pressure.
Oh, I can swim up to depths of 100 meters. So you know, rest assured, at least one of us will probably survive this.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the vac suits will definitely help. I mean, they may not help us swim, but we may be able to walk through the.
Walking on the bottom of the big oceans is that stuff with my childhood.
Let's. I'm going to head to the lower deck area that you mentioned that we could crawl down into.
Okay.
Now that I'm less worried about it filling with water completely.
Okay.
Does the vac suit have any external light or radios? Can we get into radio contact with each other, or does it have lights that?
It does have an external light, but no comms.
Okay.
These are very basic vac suits.
Yep. Yeah. Sure.
But so Bocephus, I mean, you find what can be found in the bridge. And you see, when you come out, you can see that Riker is fighting with this airlock door. You can attempt to assist him if you would like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll help. Are you trying to get in here, my friend?
There's a gun. There's a gun over there.
I want the gun.
Oh,
I really want that gun.
yes. I guess so. So yeah, let's open this up then.
So,
And I want to use the you scroll down so I can get the proper name for this. I want to use inspiration. So I can roll an average awareness check and spend 1 side point, and he will get a +2 to any one check he attempts within the next minute.
you're gonna be his cheerleader. Okay.
No, I'm going to.
Oh,
I'm
you're gonna
just
use your psionics. All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, kind of walk up and go, okay, try it again. But in reality, what I'm doing is I am going to inspire him so he'll believe he can do it in himself.
Go for
But
it.
I need to make a check here to,
Yeah.
see if I can pull this off. So I'm gonna take a. Let me look at my character sheet. All right, so I've got 2 in awareness, and then I've got a psi of 12. So this will be at +4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I can pull this off. That's an 8.
That's successful. So
That's all I need. So yeah, you get a +2 to your check now.
So Riker, you can go ahead and make the mechanic plus strength check with a +2. There you go. Okay, so
Can I get a time, please? Because, if I don't use my sonics for 3 hours, I can start regenerating. You could just give me, a player group time. It doesn't have to be an actual planet time.
You don't know. I mean,
right.
you can't see outside, so you don't have any way of really knowing what time of day it is. None of the clocks or displays work in the ship. But Sarda, you look down into the cargo hold.
Yep.
And you kind of crawl down in there. The first thing that you notice is that the hold contains a number of cargo containers, all of which bear the logo for Stenmore Minerals. Most appear to be ore hoppers, and they're empty. but there are several general haulage containers as well. Then in the corner, you notice that there is one of these general haulage containers that looks like it has been blown open. Like it is just ripped apart. It has caused major hull buckling, and there is numerous more leaks in this cargo hold. And the water is all kind of pooling. So you came down here.
Right.
And the water is kind of pooling towards the airlock. As you get towards the main cargo airlock, the water would be just above your waist. And
this is the one that has the explosion, or
correct.
Okay.
And it's caused major buckling all along the hull in here, and there's damage to several of the other empty ore hoppers and whatnot, but you can tell that this general haulage container was where this blast originated.
So if I were to just completely guess, I would say that it looks like this is sort of a we know we're on a mining ship, or owned by a mining corporation. You mentioned
Stenmore Minerals.
Yeah. And so it looks like they were delivering hoppers and bringing back raw minerals. So we were picked up, or I don't know, at this location maybe. All right. So I'll just really quickly check to see if there's anything out of the ordinary. It doesn't sound like there is, but if there's anything that might help us with our current situation, I'll just sort of quickly look through things.
So you can see that there is. So this cargo airlock actually does have a maintenance hatch, so that you don't have to open the main lock in order to get into the airlock itself, for situations such as this. And then you kind of look in the maintenance hatch. In there, you find a You find a rack with some air bottles for vac suits.
Perfect.
And the outer airlock, there is a small window that you can see out of the cargo airlock. And you can see that this section of the ship is actually underwater, and you can see that the vessel is sitting, it is buried nose first in mud.
Okay, well that's good. It means we're not going further down. We're not going to sink further down. That's. I'm happy that we're lodged in something.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But this could be a way out. But if you open these cargo doors, water's just going to flood in.
Right. Yeah. Sure. But
And
it sounds like that's going to be the case everywhere.
That could be a change in your situation. Your immediate thought process, your character's thought process would be that the upper airlock would be a safer option.
Sure. I'm going to start just taking the air bottles and chucking them through the hole in the, because I had to climb into the elevator.
Right.
So I'm going to start chucking the bottles up to the upper floor.
Okay.
And then prepare to climb up.
Okay.
And yeah.
So, Riker, you now have the shotgun. The shotgun does not have a sling, so it's a little awkward to carry, and it only has 3 rounds in it.
Got it. Is this door up here, right beside the airlock, is that open?
It is. It is another small cargo area. In that cargo area, you find another revolver with 6 rounds.
Awesome.
I'm gonna. Recife, do you have a weapon?
There should be
I
enough
have-
for everybody to have a gun now, or
Yeah.
each of you to have a gun.
Yeah, the wild Sarda doesn't have a gun yet though. So I mean, we could, when we get together again, we could probably pool our resources and
Gotcha.
figure out who gets what.
It sounds like it's the bullets that are going to be the bigger problem.
Yeah, ammunition is your biggest issue.
Yeah.
I mean, any mining company is going to want to salvage this ship. It's millions of credits, right? But I mean, it may take them a while to get to it.
Well, I mean, generally when a ship goes down, people come looking for it. So, I mean, if we've gone down and the crew's already left us behind, maybe they've set up an emergency beacon or something somewhere.
That's true.
So
we're not seeing bodies or anything, right? I mean,
Well,
just the one
we
in the
found-
low berth.
Yeah, the one in the low berth was it. Or
Yeah.
there may have been more in the low berth. I don't know if it's just
there's a total of 5 bodies.
But they're all low berth bodies, right? I mean, we're not like seeing dead crew or signs of, blood and violence everywhere. We're just seeing these black burned parts and then, he saw the crate.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. There's not any power here. I mean, this place is a tomb.
Yes. Oddly enough, it's shaped a lot like a tomb. This class of vessel is literally shaped like a brick.
Well, once I get up, I do want to see what I can find see if I can't get something going in the bridge. See if I can't maybe get sensors online or something.
Okay. I will allow you to make a... It'll be your choice, either engineering, power, or mechanic, plus intellect. Because you're going to have to take a look at stuff.
So I'm got a 1 in mechanics, so let's go with that. And so that would be a 10.
So on the floor in here, from where Bocephus had gone through and tossed stuff out of the emergency locker, you do find some circuit boards, and you find some spares that you could use to try and get sensors online. And when you go underneath the sensor console, you find that all of the boards are burned. You find all of the electrical leads coming to the boards are burned.
That's not good.
So I mean, even if you plug stuff in, they're not gonna It's not gonna
Right.
work.
All right, so I'm going to now cheat, and I'll use my clairvoyance to. I'll use clairvoyance to basically pick a point 100 feet above us and look down.
Okay.
And so that is a 8 or more is what I need. And so that is my clairvoyance skill. Wow, I failed that. That is a fumble. Well, that is exciting. What does that do? I may have just given myself a aneurysm. I was gonna say I'm pretty good at this. A 4 is okay. That would be 2 ones. Yep, that would do it. Yeah. Like I said, this is my first psionic, so I'm reading like if there's any.
I think you just lose 1 side point for the attempted fail, and that's it. You did not.
Okay.
You,
all right.
you might get a little bit of a bloody nose, but other than that, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, I won't keep trying that. That clearly was a bad idea, and I will come back and say I can't. There's nothing. The sensors, everything's dead in here. What are these little rooms that are adjacent to the bridge? What are those engineering? Those are actually, I guess they're
Officer quarters.
Yeah.
right?
Did we check those?
We have not.
Let's check the officer quarters, because I think after that we're pretty much ready to get the hell out of here.
Okay. Hold on just a moment here.
Okay. We're all together now. Is that correct?
Yes. So you guys are checking out the officer quarters, and when you do that, you find that the one of the officers' quarters obviously looks like it was run by the captain. The other officers' quarters was shared by a man, and you can tell that it was a man and a woman, and the woman was of a fairly small, slight build. So it looks to you like the normal crew of this was 3, but you did find in the forward compartment that one of the passenger cabins was set up by somebody else. So this ship, so far, what you're seeing had a crew of 4.
Okay.
But in the officers' quarters, I think you might find something else.
Yeah, because we're gonna do a kind of a nice search. I'd like to dump mattresses over and open boxes and poke around.
Yeah, we're definitely not being gentle.
And I'll let you know that from what I can, there was a actual window in the lower deck, and from what I can see, we're wedged in mud, so it doesn't sound like we're going to sink further. So we have a bit of time, but we're probably going to want to exit through the hatch in the roof on the upper deck when we decide we're ready to leave. But we might as well get everything we can possibly use. The crew clearly left us for dead, which is kind of shitty.
Well, they're probably not good people then, sir.
It does look like, based on the cargo hold, it looks like they dropped off some mining hoppers and had picked up raw ore. So this is a mining corporation. So I'm guessing we were leaving a mining planet, would be my guess, after dropping off the mining hoppers and picking up ore. There was an explosion in one of the crates, so that's probably the reason this thing went down.
Well, the ore hoppers that you found were actually empty.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought it was crates of ore hoppers that were empty.
No.
As in they delivered ore hoppers. Okay, no problem. Okay, I get it now.
So in the between the captain's quarters and the other crew quarters, you find enough equipment that you guys can each have clothes rather than just vac suits and pajamas.
Okay.
Aside from that, you don't find anything else, and you you don't find any more shoes. There's no boots, nothing.
We gotta wear the vac suits, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna be wearing moon boots. It's gonna be like the 70s all over again.
I'd like to try to, the raincoats from the survival kit.
Uh-huh.
I would like to try to fashion them into flotation devices.
I was thinking the same thing because we're gonna need to get out of here, and we've got a lot of gear that's gonna be heavy, and so something that'll help us be buoyant would really help us get to the surface quick.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not too far down that Ben's is gonna be crippling.
So yeah, go ahead and make a mechanic plus intellect check to kit bash some flotation devices out of raincoats.
Perhaps the engineer should do that rather than the doctor.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, do you think you could use your skill set to fashion flotation devices out of the rain suits?
I may not be as skilled at it as somebody else. I can try.
I have mechanic 1. I don't know.
I have mechanic 1, but I have nothing for intellect. I have no bonus for intellect.
I'll allow you both to work together, and
so
that'll add to your successes.
Sounds good. So how does that work? Are we both rolling then?
Yeah,
or?
both of you go ahead and both of you make a roll.
So I got an 8.
Okay, so
I have such a hard time reading the font, and when this.
Yeah, it does seem a little small, doesn't it? So you are able to kind of. So the way that this works is you fasten these things together and kind of attach one of the air bottles and fill it with air. So it will. I mean, this isn't going to last for very long, but it will at least, hopefully, get you to shore.
Let's. So the three of us seem to be pretty with it. Let's make sure the other passengers are ready to, have their vac suits on properly, understand what we're about to do, and are ready to leave.
Yeah, the other two are starting to throw their their stuff on, and the woman, she has come around enough. She tells you that her name is Anson.
Okay.
Here she is. She's got the blue hair.
Got it.
And kind of the pissy pouty lips. But that's about all she remembers is that her name is Anson. And
all right.
And so she kind of puts the vac suit on. You guys are able to help her. It doesn't seem like she's too either she's still out of it or not too versed in the use of a vac suit.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And so now one of the things that Bocephus found when he found the pistol is he also found a captain's security card.
I think that'll help us open the hatch that we want to leave through.
Okay.
Because that seemed to be require either opening from the bridge, which isn't going to happen based on the electronics, or that card, hopefully.
I will offer it to Sarda. Well,
all right.
You seem destined for this.
Yeah. All right. So when we're all ready and have flotation devices and stuff, let's go and open that hatch. I'm actually going to close this hatch before we do.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling that we're going to want to let the water fill this to get out of here. Because otherwise we're going to be trying to get out through water rushing in, right? And once it's filled this compartment, it'll be easier to exit.
So you open that hatch and no water comes in. And you're able to climb out onto the top of this boat.
Oh, good.
And
good.
This is essentially your scene. This is what you see of how this ship is crashed.
All right, that's better than I was. I thought we were going to be completely underwater.
And so you are able to use your flotation devices and kind of swim your way to shore.
Okay.
And this is the layout of the land. And you guys are like right here. And so you get to the shore, and you're kind of sitting on the land. You're wet. It's cold. It is starting to get. It's still daylight, but it is early evening, and you see that there is a forest down to this area. This all in here is all rough brambles, and you see that the coastline kind of continues to move to the north. The rough brambles start to become hills up towards this area, and you notice that here there is a large antenna sticking up out of one of these hills. And Anson looks at that and she says, well, I don't know where we're at, but it looks like that would probably be the landing site or where the ship was headed. I don't know what happened, but they clearly didn't make it. But that, with nothing else around this area, it seems like that would have been their landing destination.
Okay. Well, if it's getting on dark, we probably want to make camp before. We don't necessarily want to, I mean, unless this is really. I don't know what the scale is on this. Is this? I mean, is that like 2 miles or is that 30? You know, is that what kind of distance?
It's yeah. They didn't actually put a scale on this. Interesting that you bring that up. I didn't even think about that.
Because if it is getting on towards dark, but it's only 2 miles, we might want to make the walk. But if it's 30 miles.
So the first thing that you notice is that there is some sign that people have moved up north, up the coast, and kind of through the brambles and whatnot.
Sure, the crew.
You can see trampled vegetation, and there is signs of some tracks moving to the north.
We should follow them, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, can we tell how far a walk it's going to be to get to this radio tower?
To get to the radio tower, you're probably talking about a 15-minute walk.
20
minutes. It's not.
Sure.
It's not too far away.
All right. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. I didn't know if it was like a 4-hour walk. That wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
If you don't mind, let's try to be discreet in our approach.
Okay.
So you want to be stealthy about it?
Yes. There's no reason. I mean, even if we're not going to be ninjas, we at least try not to. I would point out that they did leave us behind, and a little observation of them before we approach could give us a lot of insight.
Okay, so everybody can make.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if we were going to have to use our lights from our vaccine, but if it's not dark,
yeah, it's not that dark yet. It'll probably get. From what you can tell, you can tell that you're on an Earth-like world with a Sol-like sun, and you estimate that you've got probably another 3 hours of daylight.
Okay.
Roughly. So everybody can make a stealth plus dex check. This is probably where it's going to go completely off the rails.
I don't know about you guys.
I got a 9.
You are a stealthy dolphin. Ninja dolphin.
Yes.
I got an 11.
I actually have the stealth.
I got a 7.
So nice, yeah.
It's our NPCs that we're dragging around
Right.
as per usual. It's
Right.
an escort mission, man.
Yeah, oh man. Those are escort missions in video games almost always go wrong. So you are fairly stealthy, and on your way towards the tower, you stumble across a body right here. You find a man that is dressed in shipboard typical coverall, but he's got decent boots. He's wearing a bright orange ship jacket over it. And I mean, immediately you can tell that this guy was injured, but he didn't. None of the injuries that you can see look like they would have been life-threatening. His right forearm is completely shattered, like bones sticking out the whole 9 yards. It has been bandaged.
Check?
It has been bandaged, and he's got a gash on his forehead that has been bandaged. If you want to make a medic plus intellect or education check, you can.
I'm gonna make one too, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I got a 10.
Oh, +4. Nice.
Sometimes these head wounds are sneaky and they'll have a concussion type effect, or there could be debris in there that got infected.
Poison.
Oh, the dead bodies are very interesting. They had decay and spice to a scenery.
I'm gonna check, see if anybody's gonna fit into his boots.
I was about to ask what he was wearing.
Aslan probably not so much.
No.
Aslan feet.
So, Sarda, you would fit into his boots.
Perfect. I could use boots.
Get you some boots.
So
Take
on
'em
your medic check, you determine that obviously this guy suffered some. And I mean, his coveralls and the ship jacket all show that he worked for Stenmeyer Minerals or Stenmore Minerals, and so Bocephus, you determine that he was clearly injured in the crash. The other crew members tried to patch him up, but they didn't realize that he had more serious internal injuries, and he ended up cacking it. Riker, you, in the process of you trying to check him over, you discover that somebody's rifled through this guy's jacket. And they weren't gentle about it. Like pockets have been ripped open, like the flap covers for his pockets had just been ripped off. And so it's been rifled through. However, you do find 5 ration bars that look like they came out of an emergency kit, and you find a multi-tool. Got his good old-fashioned Leatherman with him.
Nice. Multi-tool is always helpful.
Like to
So yeah,
take
I'm
his
definitely gonna
jacket.
point that out to the crew that it looked like it's been rifled through, because
I want to put his
Yeah.
jacket on. If
Okay.
if they're dressed in this jacket, and or maybe whoever's going to be our front man.
It is bright orange. So
Yes,
so
but,
it's going to
I
be
mean,
like
you
a -2 to your stealth checks.
I figure I'm already wearing a vac suit, so
That's true. That's true.
putting a hat on a hat right there.
Right. All right. Well, I guess it's overkill. Never mind. We'll leave it here after I realize it's
So
not worth anything.
I mean, he's not somebody that you know, and you continue on, just leaving him there. I assume you're taking the ration bars with you.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take what we can. We're not walking that far. So, right? So, I mean,
Right.
if it was only a 50-minute, he's like a 7-minute walk back from so I'd say let's go there. We can always, actually, let's just pick him up and carry him. What the hell? Right?
Okay.
I mean, we're not that far away. It's only like 10 minutes. I mean, the crew left him for dead. They left us for dead. They seem to be kind of callous that way. Let's just carry him the rest of the way.
Okay. So you kind of throw him over his shoulder, and he's not a very big guy. So it's not like that's terribly difficult. You make it up to this tower. It takes a little bit longer than you expected because of the brambles and this kind of that loose, sandy, gravelly kind of terrain. But the first thing that you notice is that this out here is not like an ocean. It's just a very large lake. This is the only thing here. There is a cleared out area. It looks like somebody had used a torch or a flamethrower to clear off the brambles for a makeshift landing pad. But there's no building. There's just this tower, and that's it. It's just a radio tower.
All right. Well, we can probably climb the radio tower and look around, see if we can find something else that sticks out.
Okay. So you climb up this radio tower. Yeah, and that's not hard at all. And in the distance to the north, you can see that there is another small forest, but you can kind of see over that, and you see that there is a clearing with some buildings. It looks like there's a small work site just to the north of here.
Okay. And it would be 20 minute, 30 minute. How far a walk?
You're estimating it'll probably take you about an hour to an hour and a half to make that distance.
All right. And how close to dark is it now?
You've got about another 2 hours 45 minutes roughly.
All right. Yeah, so I'll come down from the tower. Let's leave the body here, and let's walk to there's a camp up to the north.
Okay.
But this way it'll be easier to find him and bury him.
So you guys as you're making your way to the camp, everybody can make a recon plus intellect check.
All right, 3.
11.
Ooh, okay.
9.
So Riker and Bocephus, you can see. Well, you don't see it. You can hear it, and you see like the brambles and bushes moving. Something's moving under it, whether it's a small animal, or could be a predator. You don't know, but you can see stuff as you're moving. You're kind of keeping your eye out, because it seems like stuff's moving. Almost at one point, you think that maybe you're being followed, but then it scurries off in a different direction. But as you make your way up after about an hour and a half, this is the camp that you find. And you are coming in from here.
All right.
And as you approach the camp, the closer you get, you can see a number of things. The first thing that you see is that there are a number of right out front. There are a couple of cargo droids. They are not moving. Over here, it looks like this is a big open air mine, like a quarry mine. And there's a couple of mining droids that are there that aren't moving. But you can see that there's a person, and she's waving to you guys, like hurrying you along, and then she stops and she looks around, and she's holding a shotgun, and she points the shotgun at the brush when she hears something move and looks, and then hurriedly waves to you to hurry up and get inside the camp.
I'll hurry. Sounds like it's important.
Now, is she wearing the same coveralls?
She is. Well, she's not wearing shipboard coveralls. She looks like she's been planetside for a while. And as you get up, she says, "Oh well, there'll be time for questions later. We need to get inside the camp. Hurry, hurry, hurry."
All right, I'll follow her directions.
Okay. So she leads you into this building here. Number A. Derp. And this is a main area. Critical systems. It's a standard size hut. And when you come in, if you've ever been on a large construction site, the little mobile home that they set up for the offices, that's what it looks like in there. And there's a number of computers and stuff. All of the computers are dark. And she introduces herself as Catriona. And Catriona is, she says, okay, well, first of all, who are you guys?
We were in the low berth of the ship that crashed offshore.
She kind of goes, yeah.
We fortunately, the system ejected us on its own rather than someone letting us out of low berth. Not everybody made it, but there's 5 of us, right? Or 6 of us.
Right, there's 6 of you.
Yeah, but the 6 of us survived. It appears there was an explosion in the cargo hold that caused the ship to go down.
She says, "Well, that would kind of make sense." She says, "This is Stenmore Minerals Proving Site number 9." She says it's a small mining outpost set up to find out if the local deposits of copper and iron are worth exploiting on a large scale. 9 had a complement of 8 until early hours of this morning. Now there are 3 plus some new arrivals. 2 of the new arrivals are crew from the small hauler. And she says, I had met them before. She says they came here regularly doing supply runs. And she says, and then, of course, the other new arrivals are yourselves. And she says, early this morning, long before sunrise, the regular small hauler from one of the mining ships in the system's planetoid belt approached the landing area. Something happened and all the lights went out. The small hauler dived away to the west and we lost sight of it. My best guess is that we were hit by an electromagnetic pulse, which flatlined the power system and killed the electronics. It also apparently killed the small hauler. The crew, our crew, lost sight of it, and in the pre-dawn, after all the lights went out. She says, I now know that it crash landed in a lake nearby, and the crew were able to get out, but one of them died en route.
We found his corpse. They just left him on the ground. We brought him to the radio tower that's south of here.
She says, "Oh, that kind of sounds correct as well." She said the others reached the settlement a few hours ago, but not long after the power went out, our outpost leader and one of our workers went to have a look around, but they didn't return. And soon after, something crept into the settlement under the cover of darkness and killed another of our crew. 2 more went to look for the first party once it got light, but only one of them managed to get back to camp. He was badly wounded. He warned that there was a mob of creepers nearby, and they were very agitated, and then he lapsed into a delirium. And she says the crew member that made it back, he died a few minutes ago, and Telford is out there digging a grave for him right now. The power's all off. Electronic devices aren't just not working, they're fried. It's getting late in the day, and there's another guy in here. His name is Corey, and he says he thinks that he spotted movement down at the base of the hill. Now, out here, you see that, like, out towards this area, you saw that there was a guy kind of trying to build a makeshift fence between some logs. And Catriona tells you that that's Hambly. He was the captain of the small hauler. And he seems to know what to do. He suggested throwing up some defenses and waiting out the night, and that help might come from the starport in the morning, or maybe it will be possible to fix up the vehicle or get communications back online. Maybe there's a rescue ship already on the way from the mining vessel. But he said that the key was to get through tonight. It's obvious to you that Catriona is scared of the situation, but she's kind of assumed the role of sort of would-be leader. But it seems to you also that Hambly, the captain of the small hauler, has kind of taken charge of things.
So with that EMP burst, that means none of your vehicles are working, correct? Is that
Correct.
right?
Nothing around here works.
Yeah, that's not good.
She says we've got spotlights, but they're on a backup power. Luckily, they were shielded, and the backup power was shielded and buried deep enough that it wasn't affected. But that power is going to go out after those batteries aren't going to last forever.
If we're just worried about the night, I mean, if we could head back to the wreck site, I mean, we could camp on top of the shuttle. It's in the water. I mean, it's at an angle, but it seems like it's a pretty safe place to be.
Would we have enough time to get back there, though?
Not before night falls.
Not before nightfall, but
Corey mentions that he says after the sun goes down, the creepers come out, and Anson says that she's heard about something about creepers. She says that they're some kind of semi-aggressive arachnid type creature that has been found on some of the frontier worlds. She says she's never seen one, but she's seen TNS articles about creepers before.
Great, that sounds horrible.
What is it with this game and spider creatures? Hey man, at least they're not Chamax. They're not psionic spider creatures.
All right. So is there even any light in the camp with the EMP burst? I mean, do we have artificial lighting? Obviously the vac suits have a bit, but
so the backside of the camp, this thing is a dirt bram that they've kind of built up, and these brown circles, they took shorn logs and buried them in. So there's kind of like a fence going around it. These are actually the floodlights that are on battery backup. So they can provide some light, but not a lot. And like she said, the batteries they've got maybe enough battery juice to last 2 more nights. And that
2 more nights. Okay.
That's going to be it.
And it looks like the lights are facing into the camp itself so that they can work during the night.
Correct.
So we might be able to pivot those around to face outward. I don't know if that's more helpful or not.
This K is actually a flattened out landing area. I mean, this is
right.
Not really a starport, but it looks like this has been cleared with plasma torches. You know, typical of a mining company.
And is this like a pit, a gravel pit, or?
Correct. Yeah, this is an open mine.
Oh, that's the open mine. Okay. And these M's, are these boxes of stuff?
These are piles of logs, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Let me confirm that, since you're probably going to be wanting to set up some kind of defenses.
Yeah.
Yep, they are log piles.
I'm just trying to think of what we could build with logs that an industrial shipping containers not going to. Seems like the just shipping container is going to be hardier than any kind of log.
So this main cluster here, A is the central control systems and a fusion reactor.
Right.
A command and control hut. B is a standard hut given over to storage for mission supplies, and C is for spares and robots. D is the D huts are living areas, each accommodating 4 people and a small common recreation area. The base originally had 8 personnel. E is a large eating, meeting / everything else hut. It's got a well-equipped galley. The settlement has enough freeze-dried meal packs to last for months or to drive you to despair. The F is a sampling and minerals laboratory. G is an electromechanical workshop. Let's see here. Hut G also has a larger power reserve unit than the other huts, though it is badly damaged and offline. Hut F has a fair amount of ore and rock samples heaped up behind it, where they are literally been tossed out of the window after tests came up negative. H are garages for their. They have 3 standard shipping containers that they've turned into garages. Most of them are empty, but they contain tools and spares. The settlement's vehicles, they are just. They are called. They're basically little 2-person dune buggy. They're a field buggy. Electric, unfortunately. I here is a large water reservoir tank that they've buried. It's connected to a water recycling unit and shaft drilled straight down to draw water from the ground. It is fairly efficient, but not presently that efficient because there's no power. J is another radio tower. And K is your landing site.
But these prefab units, the walls on those are not real heavy, right?
They're not super sturdy now.
Yeah, so if we're gonna try to hide for the night, the shipping containers are probably more defensive.
True. As you guys are kind of discussing this and looking over the site, Hambly comes in and he walks up to you and holds out a hand and wants to shake each of your hands. Says, "Oh, I see you made it out of the small hauler."
Yeah, we did.
He's the captain, right?
Yes.
I'd like to read his surface thoughts.
Mm.
Go ahead and make a telepathy plus your psi score, and don't forget you're still down your points from before.
Right, that was just 1 point that I used
Right.
earlier, so I still have a +1 on my psi, and my telepathy will be a +1 as well, so that'll be a +2.
Okay.
A 6.
No.
Failed.
Oh.
Yeah, it just means I lose a point.
Yep.
He has to be super cool to know.
Yeah, he'd have to be. He's not gonna know.
I'll just say it looks like something exploded in the cargo hold.
He says, "Yeah, that's what brought us down." So apparently, he tells you. He says that apparently, Sternmore Minerals and a organization called Fat Cat is the Florian Aslan Trade Consortium or Trade and or their alphabet soup is Fat Cat.
It's the Florian and Aslan.
Yeah, here it is.
It's the high rate.
Florian Aslan Trade Consortium and Transactions has been trying to get Stenmore Metals to join, and Fat Cat is known for using some heavy-handed tactics. But Stenmore Metals has refused to join because they're not a trade company. They're a mineral proving company. In fact, Stenmore Minerals doesn't even go out and do the mining. They just go out and prove that a site is viable, and then they sell the claim to another company, like Sternmel Horizons or some other mining corporation. So they don't feel that there's any need for them to join Fat Cat, and he thinks that they, in a terrorist act, planted a EMP device in one of the cargo containers on the ship, and that's what brought it down and caused all of this this problem. And he says that the creepers are known to get agitated from electromagnetics, and so he thinks that that's what's caused the current situation with the creeper issues. And he then looks at the three of you and he says, "Nice vac seats and equipment. I'm glad that my money's going to help you guys out."
Yeah, well, if you'd had the honor to check on us, like you're the captain of a ship is supposed to do when it's in distress,
Well,
it wouldn't have gone that way.
He says, "Hey, man," he says, I managed to dead stick what amounts to a flying brick for a controlled crash in a lake using nothing more than residual inducted energy in the lifters. That was a miracle by itself. But the ship was holed and water was coming in, and there was a fire in the control room. And this crewman, David, he was a nice kid, had a lot of promise. He was hurt. He says, the low passengers were flatlined. David checked on them and said that they were. He says, so, I mean, if you think that, you can do better, I had Sael, she was panicking. I mean, if you think that you could have done better, I invite you to try.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
yes.
so first of all, we have to worry about these guys attracted to electronic devices, right? That's what you said?
Right.
Looks to me, looking around the camp, that your most defensive objects are these shipping containers. Maybe if we can move one of the shipping containers away from all the electrical devices, we can safely ride out the night inside that shipping container.
None of the only problem with that idea is that none of the equipment that would be able to move the shipping containers currently works. It's all electric.
Can we take a look at it? Maybe we can get one of those working. I mean, are there any spare parts for that type of stuff?
You can definitely try. You would probably want to work on one of these.
Sure. Yeah.
Let me see what that is.
Because those recriminations are not going to help us survive the night.
So these are called toolsack workbots. And
Perfect.
they
are any of
like
you trained in power? Because I think that's probably the one we're going to need, engineering power.
Yeah, you're going to need engineering power plus intellect or education.
You'll have a 0 in all the other engineering things.
Yeah. I mean, I just was trying to see if anybody was specifically trained in power.
No, I just have mechanic and electronics.
Well, I mean, if you've got engineer, at anything, it's you at least have it at 0. So
yeah, I've got it at 0. I've got that's but I was just trying to see if we had somebody who might be specialized in it.
And then the buggies are these. It looks like that talking buggy right out of like an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Sure. And you mentioned that one of these buildings over here was spare parts? Is it
Yes.
one of the? Yeah. So let's raid that. See what we can find that might help.
Okay. So you do find enough spares. You think you can probably get one of these tool sack workbox functional, at least. It is going to be a large amount of work. You see, so Corey, the other guy that is in the command hut A, he's spending time trying to fiddle around with electronics. He's under one of the consoles trying to get communications or the computers up and running, and you can tell that it's mostly busy work for him. He appears to be incredibly nervous, and that this is keeping him calm.
I'm gonna say, hey Corey, so let's try to get one of these robots working. If we can drag one of the shipping containers away from all the other electronic goods, we probably can survive inside that better, because all of these electronic goods, according to the captain, are going to attract the bugs, right? So
That's
what you're
the thought.
what you're working on may end up making this building a target. But if we get a robot working, we could drag a container without any electronic goods away from everything else, let the bugs have the electrical equipment, and we ride out the night in a more armored container.
Excellent plan. So he will help you work on one of these tool sacks. Go ahead and make a electronics or I'm sorry, engineering power plus intellect or education, your choice.
Oof. Only a 6.
So that's going to take a little bit.
Yep. No worries.
Riker, what are you going to try and do?
Is there any weapons or weapon caches, ammo?
So you see that Catriona, she's carrying a revolver in a holster, and she has a shotgun. Her shotgun is fully loaded. In fact,
might make spears out of those wooden. I mean, it sounds like we don't have a lot of ammo is a real problem.
So she has a shotgun that has a full magazine. She's got a revolver that's got a full magazine. God, that sounds weird. Just saying a revolver has a magazine. Whatever. And Hambly has a shotgun with a full magazine. You also see another the woman that Hambly mentioned. What was her name? Her name was Sael. She is kind of nervously pacing around. And Riker, make a recon plus intellect check. Ooh, that's good. So
nice.
So Riker, you notice that she keeps nervously looking back over at you guys, sometimes to the point where she's looking over her shoulder at you guys. She has like a hunting rifle, like with a scope and the whole bit.
That's the one you're gonna want to read a mind of.
Maybe so, but.
So does she look like worried or just keeping an eye on us?
She looks like she's keeping an eye on you guys specifically. And she is staying out of reach. Like she hasn't come over and introduced herself. She hasn't talked to you guys at all. She's just kind of staying away, and she's right now over standing next to the guy Telford, who is helping to dig the grave. I was going to say he's digging a hole that's vaguely grave-shaped, and there's a corpse laying there with a tarp over it.
So Riker's not the best at conversing, but I definitely want to let my crew know that it seems like
I've never met anybody playing an Aslan character. It's like, hey, you know what? I have a really high charisma. Can I go talk to this
Nope.
person?
no.
They have a skill just to tolerate non-Aslan.
That's right. Well, Riker grew up in the Imperium, right?
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, he wasn't high, right?
All of you,
I have
all
a
of you-
project I want to work on before the night comes.
yeah, Bocephus, what are you wanting to work on?
I want to see how big those logs are up there. If they're movable reasonably, I would like to take and set it up and put them on top of the shipping containers. Maybe stack them, stack two of them parallel with the long sides to make like a little ramp, and then put some kind of rock or anything up there to kind of keep them from falling off. And then I want to tie a rope to the rock, so if we pull the rope, the logs roll down and
Oh, a
hurt
log trap.
whatever's a yes. I want to make a log trap on the top of the shipping containers.
So
That's
these logs are big enough that normally they would have been moved with the tool sack work bots. But if you get 2 or 3 people, you could probably move them one at a time.
I would like to try to encourage people that are, wanting something to do to help me set up a log trap on top of the storage container. And that way, if we start to get overwhelmed by these creepers or whatever, we can at least clear the door to exit the storage building and perhaps flee.
So
at the time we need.
as you're moving towards the logs, you have to walk past Telford, who's digging the grave. Or at this point, he's done digging the grave, and he's just kind of quietly saying some words over the body. And he looks up and he says, "Oh, a Chokari. We don't see very many of you around here." He
Yes,
says,
Grant.
"My name's Dr. Telford."
Oh, well, I am Dr. Bocephus.
"Oh, nice to meet you, Doctor." He says he looks down at the body and he says, "Oh, this poor guy. We didn't realize that we had creeper problems. I mean, we knew that there were creepers on the planet, but usually they stay underground and they've been pretty calm until whatever happened. He says there are multiple types. The most common type is called the feeders. And feeders do most of the work for the hive, building the hive or going out and getting food, things like that. The next type are the warriors, and they actually have like a scorpion tail that's a stinger that injects a venom that causes a delirium. And this poor gentleman, he ran into one of the warriors. We thought maybe he was going to make it, but the venom is quite toxic, and he lapsed into complete delirium, passed out, and then expired. So then
Did he
there's
expire before the mandatory 2-hour waiting time?
and then he says, or I'm sorry, not warriors. There's feeders, then there's killers, and then the last type is the breeder. That there's usually only a couple of those. Their entire purpose is to generate more creepers. So there's some that say that there's a fourth type called the thinker, and that hives that have a high number of thinkers can actually gain some measure of sentience, that they can actually figure out simple tools and things. But that's all conjecture. I don't necessarily know that I believe that. These things are just, they're animals, and they're doing what animals do.
Have
Right.
you ever tried to train one?
No, they're fairly hostile. So the situation with the creepers is that they are attracted to electromagnetics, but once they're kind of put into a tizzy from electromagnetics, they come out and they begin to hunt.
Yeah, because it seems like there's I guess I'm not there, but yeah, it seems like there's less electronics now than there was before. But maybe the EMP blast set them off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, go ahead.
no,
Oh yeah, well, it's just seems that there's a cause and a reaction to everything, and the way to get along with nature is to let nature do its function. And then I think if we got away from this new technology power stuff and went more into an old-fashioned type existence, we could wait this thing out.
this is. Well, I wish I had your confidence, Doctor. Right now, though, if we let nature take its course, we're all going to be eaten by morning.
Yes, perhaps you should help me move some logs and get some friends. I'm going to construct a log trap on top of the shipping containers.
He says that actually sounds like an excellent idea. I'll finish burying this poor gentleman, and he turns and he says, "Hey, Sayel, help them with their log trap idea." And she's got this high pitched, whiny voice, and she says, "Oh well, okay, but that's not really my field of expertise. But okay."
Yeah,
And so
wonderful.
she kind of takes her hunting.
Might ask her what it is, what that level of expertise is.
Yeah, that is. What is your level of expertise, young?
Oh,
child?
I was a ship's hand on the small hauler.
Oh, well, this is much the same thing. You will lift something with your hands, and you will move it.
Say if she's an electronics engineer. That's gonna be frustrating that we've got her building log traps. But
Bocephus, make a recon plus intellect check.
Oh, okay. I'll get a 2 plus 2 in this.
And actually, Riker, since I assume that you were going to try and help with the logs,
Yes.
you can
got
make a
an 8.
recon check as well.
Not as good the second time.
Okay. So, Bocephus, you notice two things. Dr. Telford is dressed way better than anybody else at the camp. It looks like he has. It looks like he went and bought camping gear from Boward. Like he's got the high end stuff. The other thing that you notice is that Sayel's rifle, her hunting rifle, appears to be brand new. You would be surprised if she didn't just take it out of its packaging, its bubble wrap, like
Right.
2 or 3 days ago.
Does she know how to use it? I'll ask. I'm like, are you familiar with that weapon?
She says, "I've fired off a couple shots. I'm perfectly good with it."
Oh, all right. Are you going to join us in the shipping container? We're going to build a log trap on top of them.
She says, "Anything that'll keep me alive is what I'm interested in doing."
Oh, then perhaps you would help us move these logs.
Oh yeah, she'll come with you and try to help move the logs.
Oh, wonderful. Well, then I'll try to, I have a little bit of slug knowledge. I'll try to look at her and see if she's actually knowing what she's doing. Like, is the safety on? Is, she using proper gun safety, or is she an idiot with a gun?
Yeah, she is keeping her finger off the trigger. The safety is not on. Like she's prepared to fire it, like at any moment. And she doesn't.
Sure.
When she's going with you to go to the logs, she never gets into a relaxed posture with that gun. She looks like she's ready to pull it up and pull the trigger at any moment.
Okay.
Riker notices that aside from the fact that she's keeping her finger off the trigger, that's about the limit of her gun safety. There's a number of times where she moves the barrel towards people.
so she's not very good.
Well, that doesn't mean she can't shoot people. It just means it
Right.
just means that she doesn't care who she shoots.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will break here, and we will pick this up next Friday at 7 o'clock, and we will get into the fearsome night on the Mystery Planet. Oh, you do learn where you are at. You are on the planet Neon.
Okay.
And I can show
Okay.
you where Neon is. So here's Neon. It is right on the edge of the Great Rift. And you learn you kind of hear from Hambly and Sale that your low berths were loaded onto a ship at Tobiah, and that Hambly took ownership of those on his small hauler as cargo. You were already frozen when you were loaded onto his small hauler. Now you guys are starting to remember a little bit about why you were on Tobiah, and the thing that you remember is that all of you kind of got together, and you read a news article about how the company Deepnight Exploration LIC had taken a big stock hit because they only have like a fleet of, I think, 4 of these large rift exploration ships, deep exploration ships, and one of them went missing, the namesake for the Endeavor class. Deepnight Endeavor went missing, and their investors wanted to pull out, and their stocks took a major hit. And they were offering a 100,000 credit reward to anybody who had information or had seen it, or anything that led to them possibly finding it. Now, the law enforcement agent in your group, what was his name? George McDuff. He had heard that there was a missing girl from the planet Blue in the Trojan Reach, and that it is possible that she had signed on with Deepnight and may have been aboard Deepnight Endeavor, and he had tracked that to the point where he thinks he may have learned where Deepnight Endeavor is. And so you were actually traveling from Tobiah to a deep space station called Chandler Station. But you don't remember signing up for being on low berth. You would have signed up for passage, and Neon would have been the natural system to go through. But you don't remember the details of signing up for low berth or anything. I mean, it's very possible, because you don't have a lot of money, but you don't remember the details of that.
Okay.
So we will pick this up next Friday at 7 o'clock and deal with your current situation.
Thanks
All right.
a lot. Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
You are
Take care.
welcome. I will see you next week.